Okay, so I'm super excited to introduce my beautiful, gorgeous client and friend named Crystal, and she's awesome. So she's already on here with me, but she has an amazing story. She's got 5 little crazy active boys, and she's been able to still take control of her health and make the time for that. So I'm excited to introduce her and just kind of interview her today so we can kind of hear her story. So do you care if we start out with some questions, Crystal, just so I can kind of find out, where you were before finding
Yeah,
this
of
program?
course.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I would really like to hear about kind of like what your health was like before you found this program. Like, what was your health history like in the past?
I found out my first year in college that I had thyroid disease. And honestly, I have struggled with my weight on and off throughout my life. I've always struggled with energy, like just feeling good in general.
Yeah.
I'm a napper. I like to take naps, but I like needed to take naps just to function. I felt horrible on a daily basis, just no energy, tired all the time. So I was especially with 5 kids, it was a rough life.
Yeah, that would be. Oh my gosh. Needing a nap. Kids don't really let you nap.
No, no, they don't.
No, they don't. Well, great. And so, did you try to lose weight on your own before finding the program?
Yes, so I totally was one of those crazy people who worked out like 6 days a week. I would do 2 a days, like 3 times a week. So I actually, after my second baby, I was so sick and tired of being overweight. I gained a lot in between my 2 pregnancies, and so I decided I was gonna get healthy. So I got on one of the Beachbody programs and got crazy with it and did, like I said, worked out 6 days a week. Sometimes I do 2 a days, 2 or 3 days out of the week.
Oh my
I
God.
was meal prepping, I was calorie counting, and I lost about 40 pounds, but it took me a little over a year. And
Wow.
then I thought I was at my healthy place, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, but I still didn't feel good. I still didn't have energy. I mean, weight wise, I was at a good place, but I still felt crappy.
Yeah.
And so then I had my third baby. And then after I had my third baby, I thought, oh, I'm just going to do the same thing. But this time my body just wouldn't respond. It just was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. We don't want to lose weight. So that's
Yeah.
I was kind of stuck at that place for probably 2 or 3 years.
Wow. Yeah. After I feel like every single baby, it's harder and harder and harder to lose the weight. Our bodies just want to hold on to it.
Yep.
So, okay. Well, good. That's good to know. So it sounds like you're doing a ton of stuff, calorie counting and like working out like a crazy person. So you had to find a lot of time for that, right? With like having
Yeah.
3 little ones. That's hard. Um, okay. So overall, what do you feel like the hardest thing was? Like if you could like pinpoint to like one thing, like, oh, that was definitely the hardest thing about being healthy. Like, what do you think it was?
Um, the program itself made it so easy for me, but I think getting out of my own head, like the part of the program that we go through that teaches us how to overcome our emotional eating and understanding nutrition. I think there's so many like fad diets and
Mhm.
different things out there that it can get really confusing. And so I think like just being able to get out of my own way kind of and just let the program do its work and not
Yeah.
second guess everything was hard. It was hard. And not I wouldn't say not giving into temptation because the program makes it really easy for you to overcome, like you don't have as many cravings for sweets and things, but like understanding emotional eating and overcoming that portion of it. And I think
Yeah.
just like admitting that I was emotional eater, that was hard. So
Yeah.
I'd say that was probably the hardest part.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. That was me too. I was totally an emotional eater. And of course, like we can fall back into those old habits too. It's not like we ever become perfect, but yeah, it's so helpful to be able to learn the skills and the tools you need to be able to recognize even what emotional eating is. Like I think so
Mhm.
many of us think that we're not an emotional eater because we don't even know what it means. So I always like to tell people like, oh, it's well, if you ever want to eat when you're bored, lonely, angry, sad, stressed, tired, even excited and depressed. And so usually if we explore and kind of dig enough deep in within ourselves, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, to at least one of those, right? So
Yeah.
that's awesome that you've been able to recognize that. and to, overcome that. That's really cool. Okay. So what successes have you seen with this program, like on scale and off scale? Kind of what's your journey been so far?
Um, it's been amazing. I I actually found the program after my fourth baby, and I lost all of my baby weight, and then I ended up getting pregnant again, surprise, and gained my pregnancy weight back. I usually gain between 40 and 50 pounds every time I get pregnant.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot easier though, because I knew that I had this program to go back to after. So I jumped back on program after, and I'm down almost a little over 40 pounds now, which
Oh
is
my
really
gosh.
exciting.
That's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, I'm only 2 pounds from my original goal weight, so it's really
Holy
exciting.
cow. That's
So that's my
amazing.
on scale, obviously.
Yeah.
My off scale victories, I would say just feeling like I have so much more energy. Before it was like if I didn't get a full solid 8 hours of solid sleep, I would just drag and like be the orneriest person on the planet if I didn't get a nap. But
Right.
I can actually function an entire day now, like even having a newborn and going through all that, like I can function.
Right.
And that's a huge deal for me, huge deal for me. So that's one of my biggest off-scale victories. But I would say my biggest one has just been feeling like I am in control of what I put in my body, and my body is not in control of me. Meaning, like, I get to tell my body, no, we're not going to have a donut. We're going to have salad instead. And not feeling like I have no control over that. Like, feeling like I control what I put in my body and not the other way around. So,
Right. That's so cool. So you don't feel like you're like driven by like emotional eating or by like a habitual, like, oh, well, there's a donut in front of me, so I had to eat it. So many of us
exactly.
do that.
Yep.
That's cool. That's really cool. So, do you feel like, oh, sorry, I just had a question and then it just left me. I don't know. That's okay. But yeah, being tired, oh my heck, like how I'm sure like getting a solid 8 hours of sleep being a mom probably almost never happens. So you're probably always dragging.
Yeah, it's pretty rare,
Yeah,
as you
for
know.
sure. For sure. So how has this program worked in your lifestyle, like as a busy mom of 5 boys? Because I know that you're always running
Oh my
around.
word. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing about it is just the convenience of it. I have had like other people that I know that have done the macro counting and stuff. And I was, like I said, I was meal prepping like 2 to 3 hours a week. I would like meal prep, and that was only for like 2 or 3 days in advance, not even a whole week. And
Right.
it took so much time and so much effort. And I still wasn't getting the exact balance that I needed. So I would still have the cravings,
Right.
and it was rough. It was really rough. So I think just it's so easy. Like the company and the program, they just make it so easy. It's so convenient. I have my fuelings and they're delicious, and I throw them in my purse. And when I'm out and about, they're right there when I need them. I don't have to stop and grab a burger and fries because my body's screaming at me when I'm hungry. My blood sugar is stable and I feel good, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I've got my snack and I eat it and I feel satisfied, and it's just so easy. Anyone can do it. It's just so easy.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, being simple, I think, is the key, especially for busy parents. So that's awesome. And so as far as like changes go with your family, have you noticed any positive changes, like either with the way that you interact with your children and your husband, or the way that like they're eating or the way that they're acting? Have you noticed any differences?
Yes, huge differences. When I very first started, cooking for my kids was a challenge,
Yeah.
because we eat healthier. And at first it was like, ew, I don't want vegetables, because I was not a vegetable eater. Like,
Yeah.
no, I would put spinach in like a fruit smoothie, and that was my vegetables for the day. And
Right.
so I've learned to love vegetables. And so my boys were like, vegetables again at first. And now, like, there's so many amazing healthy recipes on this program that they love it. They're like, oh, we're having zucchini noodles and meatballs, like yum. Like they get so excited. So I think
Yeah.
just being able to teach them um, how to eat healthy and what their plate should look like, that's been like a huge change in our family. And they're conscious
Yeah.
and they know what a protein is now and what a carb is and how many of those they should have. And before it was just like, they're kids. They don't care. But
Right.
they do. They really do care. They'll
Yeah.
stop and ask me like, "Mom, is this a healthy choice?" You know, and I love
Yes.
that. I think that's so awesome that they're already aware of that, because I, as a full-grown adult, didn't really know what a healthy choice was.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so empowering to be able to watch families get healthy together. And it's true, like kids, like they're smart. They catch on really fast. And of course, like example really is what it all comes down to. Like a lot of people tell me, oh, like my kids would never eat vegetables. And it turns out usually the parents aren't eating vegetables either. And so it's cool, like what happens, like even if you're not forcing, especially if you're not forcing the issue, like the kids just start seeing you eating and enjoying vegetables. And then they're like, oh, maybe these aren't so bad. And they start eating and enjoying vegetables. So that's really cool. That's awesome. Um, well, cool. And so how confident are you feeling, like now that you've lost that amount of weight, like how confident do you feel like you can keep the weight off? Like, is that something that you're worried about?
I'm 100% confident. I have gained habits that I know I will have for the rest of my life, because I know the difference of, I feel like so many people live in their own reality, right? Like they're used to feeling crappy and tired and sick. And so once you do this program and you know the difference and you feel the difference and you know how good you feel eating healthy and putting the things in your body that your body needs,
Yeah.
you don't ever want to feel that way again. You don't ever want to go back to feeling that crappy again. You don't.
Right.
And so that's, I'm 100% confident. And I know that if I ever falter, if I ever have a hard time, that this community and the support of people in this company are there for me. And they're like my family now, you know, and I love that. So
Yeah.
I am 100% confident for sure.
That's so cool. Because I know that that's like one of the hardest things for most people. It's like, well, I've lost weight a bunch of times, like, but it's just keeping it off. That's like usually the hard part for people. So that's what's awesome about this program. Like, it's just the habits, right? I always tell people, like, if it's not a habit to be healthy, you're not going to keep being healthy. So I think that's so cool that, like, it sounds like you've really been able to, make those healthy choices habits. Do you feel like you have to like never eat sugar ever again? Like, do you feel like you have to eat salads and chicken every single day for the rest of your life? Or do you feel like when you're presented with like options, do you feel like you can make choices sometimes to indulge?
Yes, and that's the other thing too, is I love it because, like I said, I get to choose what I put in my body. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about just choosing salads. I get to
Yeah.
choose when I have a cookie, and I get to choose how many cookies I have, and
Yeah.
not like, oh, I'm only gonna have one, and then 10 cookies later, like, oh crap, what have I done? You know, like
Right.
feeling like I know and I'm more in control of my choices, and I love that. Yes, I still definitely am going to have a donut every now and then, or choose to have sugar or whatever.
Right.
But I make better choices overall. Like I love hamburgers and fries. Like that was something I loved before. And guess what? I still have a hamburger and fries. I just have sweet potato fries instead of regular fries. And
Right.
I don't even miss those things. Like there's some things I will never go back to. But
Yep.
there are things that, yeah, I will definitely still indulge in. But um there's things that now that I go without them, I don't even miss them. I mean, my diet consisted of mostly carbs, and very little protein
Yeah.
before this. And I remember saying, like, I could never live without bread. I could never. I don't know how people who you have a gluten intolerance survive. Like, I could never do that, you know? And not
Right.
that I don't eat bread. I actually have a half of a bagel every single day. But I don't have carbs for breakfast and, straight carbs anyway. I don't have straight carbs for breakfast and straight carbs for lunch. Like I love that it's more balanced. So yeah, just feeling like I have more control of my choices and knowing that I can still have those things, but those things don't rule my life like they did
Yeah.
before.
Right. That's so cool. That was one of my favorite things too, because recovering sugar addict here.
Me
I
too.
definitely, yeah. So you understand, like it's hard. Like it used to be like I felt like a slave to sugar. Like I had to eat it every night after the kids went to bed. And if I didn't, like that's all I could think about, until I got my fix or whatever. So it's really cool to be able to choose when you're eating sugar and not be like, oh, I have to eat sugar, because it just would make me feel gross. And obviously it didn't get me to my health goals that I wanted. So it's
Yeah.
really empowering to be able to have that control and just be, sometimes I want it and sometimes I don't. And that's cool. So well, that's awesome. As far as like, I know that you've decided to pay it forward and you've decided to start coaching people yourself. So what's kind of like the biggest thing, would you say, like that inspired you to become a health coach?
I think that we can be shy about admitting that we're unhealthy, about admitting that we're overweight or that we need help.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, like it was a part of it was a pride issue. Like I just didn't want I didn't want to admit to people that I needed help or that I was on the program. But I came to realize that in a way, I was almost being selfish because not everybody knows there's something out there that can help them, that can save their lives in a lot of instances and help us have better lives. And so I just felt like, you know what, I was actually Kaylee, you actually talked to me about this a couple of years ago when I did the program the first time, but I was working 60 hours a week and I just wasn't in a place where I thought I could do it. And I was just making excuses, I think, really. And so the second time around, I was just like, I'm already telling people about this program anyway. And I need to be more vocal about it. I need to share it and I need other people to be able to benefit from it like I have. And I was in a place where I could do it. I could commit to being a coach. And financially, it's been a huge blessing for us.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing like no other self-starter businesses that I've ever done before have been successful like this. And I think it's just because it is a life-changing program. And that's getting to see other people change their lives and regain their health is so rewarding. It's amazing. And so that was ultimately why I did it, because I felt like, how can I keep this gift that I've been given and be selfish and just keep it to myself and not want to share it with other people? And that doesn't mean that coaching is for everybody, but for me, it was a way for me to give back and to be able to bless my family financially. So
That's so cool. I agree. Like, it's like for a lot of people, it's like you just feel like this enormous, enormous feeling of like gratitude. Like, oh, I just have this amazing gift. And so like you just want to like share it, you know? So that's so cool. That was me too. I found help and so I loved it and I loved the way I felt all the time. And I'm like, everybody needs this. Like just to kind of like reflect on what you said like earlier, like it's like a sick that you don't know you feel until you don't feel it anymore, you know? And then it's like, oh, I did not feel good. It's kind of,
like
you
people
know,
can feel like this? What?
right, right. So like you're like stuck in like what Dr. A, who actually founded the company, Dr. Wayne Anderson, he talks about non-sick. And so like so many of us are just non-sick. Like, yeah, maybe we're not sick because we're like, we don't have diabetes, we don't have high cholesterol even or high blood pressure. You know, maybe we're kind of inching our way there, but maybe not. And we just like, but we don't have energy. We feel like we need naps. You know, we're just like living every day, like surviving, right? Survival mode, not thriving. And so it's so cool. Like once you can get out of that, like, so it goes like sick, non-sick, wait, sick. Yeah. Is that right? Sick, non-sick. And then, okay. Yeah. And then like thriving. So it's just so cool to be able to finally step out of that non-sick zone and go to thriving and be like, oh my gosh, I am never going back to that non-sick place because it's just, I mean, you just don't feel good. And it's just not sick enough to notice until you feel good, you know?
And everybody's sick. Everybody
Yeah.
around you is sick. So nobody knows they're sick. They just all assume it's the normal. So
Right. Well,
once
yeah,
you get out of that,
right.
it's
Yeah,
like,
you're a
no.
parent. Like you should be tired. You're a parent. Like, well, no,
Yeah.
not
Oh,
really.
this is normal. Yeah. Eating this way and feeling this way, crashing every day at 3 p.m. and needing caffeine. That's normal. Everybody does that,
Right.
and
Yep.
then when you know
Yeah.
different, you're like, I gotta tell people about this because
Hmm.
it's amazing.
It is amazing. It's so cool. Yeah, so I was just gonna ask you, but it sounds like, I mean, you kind of answered this, but if you have a very, very favorite thing about coaching, like what would it be?
Helping other people realize that they're capable. I
Yeah.
think sometimes we limit ourselves and we think that we're not worthy or we're not capable of hard things and doing things that are challenging.
Yeah.
And having people realize that they are capable, that there are systems out there to help them be successful, and then watching them crush their goals and just conquer their fears and the things they never thought they could do, and reaching these huge dreams that they had for themselves. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's really awesome.
That's so cool. I think that's super neat. That's one of my favorite things too. Like it's so common, huh? Like when you talk to people like about the program and they're like, yeah, like I want to do this. and they like have their dreams like this big, you know, because it's been so long since they've been able to have anything that their heart truly wants. And so like, I'll be like, well, what else do you want? And they're like, well, you know, maybe lose 10 pounds, maybe 20, you know, that would be great. And I'd love to have some more energy just so I could clean my house. And then they like get on program and all of a sudden they're down that 20 pounds already. And then they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like let's get rid of the rest of the 30 that I never thought I could get rid of. And, you know, with all this energy now, like I can actually clean my house. And now I want to actually play with my kids. Like I want to go for walks. And so it's just so fun to like watch people's dreams like start so small and then they grow so big. So I love that too. Just like giving people hope. So well, that's awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Do you have anything to add, Crystal?
No, just, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, you're awesome. This program is awesome. And it's so cool that you've decided to pay it forward and getting America healthy. It's awesome.
Thanks, Kaylee.
So congratulations for all of your hard work on program as well and your results. So it's been super inspiring.
Thanks.
No problem. All right. See ya.